Hello and welcome to the Lake District Yogi, and welcome to this complete beginners class. I thought I would run a little series of probably 6 videos which will help you if you have never done yoga before, never stepped on your mat, or years and years have lapsed and you're looking to get into it again or try it for the first time. And I thought I'd run this little series to help you really develop a sustainable practice, working from the foundations up with the absolute basics so that you can start to build a practice that works for you. So my idea is that over the 6 videos, we'll gradually introduce new things, build on what we've learnt the video before, and gradually build up to our 6th class, which will be a full sequence. And then from there on, you can do any classes and join all my other videos and what have you, but you'll be safe in the knowledge that you've got the basics down, you've got the foundations down. So this is going to be a completely seated, sort of on the mat, grounding class to start with. I could talk for hours about the history of yoga and yoga philosophy and all of the many strands that feed into building a yoga practice, because it's so much more than the poses and the postures that you do on your mat. But I'm not going to do that today. That's for another time. But I will just make reference to the very first of the Yoga Sutras, written probably over 2,000 years ago. And the very first sutra is that yoga is the ceasing of the fluctuations of the mind. And I think it's really worth knowing that at the start and really bearing that in mind all the time. Yoga was not designed to be a physical practice. Yoga was designed for the physical practice to enable the settling of the mind. It's like a moving meditation. There is so much to yoga. It's the most exciting thing. If you're starting out new with this, I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited that there's so much for you to learn. I'm not going to be able to teach you everything. I'm going to teach you what I know and what I love and what works for me. I've been practicing now for 25 years, maybe more, and teaching for the last 8. It is my absolute bedrock. I do yoga every single day because it makes me feel so good. It helps me in life. It keeps me grounded. It offers me that sacred pause every day where I can step away from everything that's going on and everything that's being asked of me, and I can come home. And I really hope that as you embark on this journey into yoga, you will also understand that feeling of coming home to yourself. Maybe that's not happened for years. Maybe, like so many people, you have a negative relationship with your body, and it could be that this is about coming home to being embodied, to being in your body and loving it and what it can do for you and helping it become stronger. It's a coming home in many ways. Coming home to the breath. We'll be talking about that a lot. So I really hope you enjoy this, and I really hope that these foundations help you take flight into the most exciting lifelong practice that is yoga. So a little note on props before we get started. You don't have to have these at all. It's totally fine, but it may be useful. So I have a blanket. A blanket next to your yoga mat has many purposes, you'll see as we start to practice. So it might be worth grabbing a blanket. And if you have a couple of yoga blocks, obviously bring them to your mat now. If you don't have to. You could use books, or there are other things you could use. But if you're going to invest in anything other than your mat to help you as a beginner, a couple of blocks might be useful. This is from Yoga Matters. It's really lightweight. You can use them on multiple heights. So they are really useful. They just help bring the ground up to you if you don't quite have that range of movement, that flexibility yet. So that's a little note on props, but please don't feel you need to have those today. I will have a sip of tea, as always, at the start of my videos, and then we will get going. So we're going to start today just seated like this. So if this is already challenging, and for many people it is, if you find that you're really rounding your spine or you're really finding, it took me a long time before I could sit with a nice easeful upright spine without the muscles of my back screaming after a few minutes. So it's taken me a very long time. So here's the tip: if you are struggling to keep a straight spine, take that folded up blanket or a pillow or whatever and put it underneath your hips. I'm just going to turn to the side, just on the edge. So rather than sitting flat on it, which is exactly the same as sitting on the floor, you're just a little bit higher, kind of wedge it underneath your hips, and it just tilts the pelvis a fraction and helps you to create that spine. It might help. So try that. If that's not quite enough, then you obviously can roll it and make it, bigger. Comfort everything to start with, okay, and all these little tips to help ease you in. I'm going to start really slowly. Okay, so just close your eyes just for a moment. Just land here. See how you feel about this inaugural step onto a yoga mat. Are you feeling a sense of trepidation? Are you feeling that you may not be able to do this or be good enough? And all of these thoughts can flood in. So just take a couple of breaths. Try to make the breaths slow and smooth, as if you are nourishing yourself or refreshing yourself with a cool drink on a hot day. That kind of really lovely, easeful feeling of breathing. And then try, if you can, to let go of any sense of expectation of what you think this should feel like or look like. And we're going to explore, and you're going to find out what it feels like. There is absolutely no right or wrong here. There is no way that you are not in the right place. You belong on your yoga mat. Your body can do this. The breath is really important in our yoga practice. It's kind of what sets yoga apart from other forms of stretching. It's that linking of breath to movement. And then you'll learn as you go along that you can use the breath to facilitate the physical posture. You can use the breath to start to get feedback about what's going on emotionally, or behind the scenes, that kind of layer of yourself that you may not be that in tune with. You can use the breath to shift your energy. So today we're going to start with a really simple breath and movement together. So on your next in-breath, just take the arms overhead, take them nice and slowly. Feel all the sensations within the arms. Let the palms reach overhead. Maybe the fingertips find each other in space. And as you exhale, slowly, slowly, just let the arms come down. Feeling all the sensations inside the arms and as they move through the air. Go again on your next in-breath, really slowly. So as we breathe slowly, it encourages us to move slowly. Exhale, breathe the arms back down. And as we move slowly, it encourages us to breathe slowly. So we're timing our breath and our movement. Yours may not quite be as slow as mine. So move with your own breath. One more like this. So let the movement last the entire length of the inhale. Try to keep the shoulders soft. And then the exhale, the entire length of that movement. One more time, lift the arms overhead as you breathe in. And then keep the left arm where it is. Place the right hand on the ground beside you. And then lean over, let this left arm come alongside your ear. So here, As within all poses, you decide what happens. You could be quite upright. You could have your hand quite a long way away and bend the elbow to get even greater depth. The key is to try to keep this left sitting bone rooted. So you're not lifting up, you're not lifting this bum cheek off the ground. This is nice and grounded. That's the key. And then from that place of grounding, you find your stretch. Try to reach to the tips of your fingers and imagine the fingers are off into the corner of the ceiling, the arm not draping over the head. Feel that line of energy between that left sitting bone and the left fingers. And then this arm here can bend to give you greater sensation or depth, or straighten or slide the hand towards you if you want to back off a little bit. So all of this is for you to explore. Okay, next inhale, press off this right hand, come back up to the center, and then place the left hand down, lean over, reach to the tips of the right fingertips, keep the right hip rooted. And again, just feel your way in. If the breath has immediately disappeared from your awareness because you're busy focusing on all these things, fingertips and hip and what have you, then don't worry. As soon as you're settled here, bring your awareness back to your breath and let the breath flow. It's a little bit like learning to drive. Even the simplest pose can actually have lots of components. It can seem like there's far too much to think about, but joyfully it does actually become second nature. And then all you do is flow with your breath. Okay, come back up to the center. This time let the palms meet. Take a nice full breath in, slow and smooth. And then close your eyes and draw your palms pressed together in this like prayer hands all the way down to your heart. And then just bow your head in, give the neck a little stretch as if you're trying to touch your fingertips with your lips. And then lift the head, place the hands back on the knees. Okay, next in breath, lift the arms one more time. And this time clasp the hands together, place them behind your head, the sort of bulge at the back of your skull. Let your head rest quite heavily into your hands and your hands into your head. So you're making that real connection. Open the elbows, take that breath in, nice and slow. And then as you breathe out, we're rounding forward. So we're rounding the spine to the back of the room, the chin to the chest, the elbows close in as if they're going to touch, they're not going to touch. And then inhale, lift everything up. I always like to say, open your wings. Lean the head back into the hands maybe a little. Exhale, close everything in. Draw the spine to the back of the room, draw the chin to the chest. Inhale, slowly lift up, open your wings, let your heart shine forward. Twice more like this. So as you curl in, feel into your neck. Maybe you can draw a little bit more on the back of the head, but just feel into your neck. See how much of a stretch you want to give it there. And curl round one last time. Inhale, lift back up, release the hands, place them on your knees. Okay, we're going to roll over to our knees and find all fours. This is another really good use for your blanket. So I'm on a really hard wooden floor here, so it's quite unforgiving on the knees. And we want to protect our knees, so you can always bring your blanket, place it under your knees, and then place your hands down. So we're going to set up here. And this is what we're looking for. We want our wrists directly underneath our shoulders, maybe a fraction in front. Definitely not behind our shoulders. Our knees underneath our hips. We can untuck the toes and have the tops of the feet in the mat. And we can make a little bit of contact with the earth with the tops of the feet. And then try to visualize a sort of neutral spine. And then draw in the lower belly. So I'm going to talk a lot about the core. And drawing in the lower belly, one of the best ways I've ever heard it described, and I use this all the time, is that sensation of doing up a really tight pair of jeans. When you draw up that zip, it's almost like this, the hip points here kind of feel like they're moving towards each other as you draw in. This isn't about creating some kind of rock-like stomach for aesthetics. It's nothing to do with that. It's not about creating tension. It's about finding a light engagement in these belly muscles and the lower belly to create a stable band all the way around here, which protects our lower back. So lightly engage that core, and then very gently just drop the belly. So you'll lose that engagement here. Take a full breath in, and as you exhale, press into the hands and start to round the spine to the ceiling. Maybe draw that belly in again now. Let the head hang. Inhale, start moving the other way. The tailbone lifts, the belly drops, and lastly the gaze lifts, or the chin. Exhale, press into the hands, press the earth away as you round the spine to the ceiling, let the head drop. Inhale, lifting from the tailbone, so the movement starts there. Spine ripples through, heart shines forward. Hands and knees stay exactly where they are. And then keep the movement like this. Look down at your hands as you're moving, and maybe separate the fingers a little. Make sure the middle finger is facing forward. So we've got no quirky twists happening in our shoulders. Our hands are nicely rooted. You can really press down with the finger pads. So we'll do one more like this. This is our cat-cow. You'll hear this all the time too. Great for spinal mobility. Find that neutral spine. Tuck the toes and then send the hips back towards your heels. And you can stay up like this with the hands rooted exactly where they were, or you can allow the hands to slide forward a little bit. Maybe place the forehead down. And then keeping the hands where they are, gradually start to come forward, lift the hips off the heels, and let the weight come forward of the hands just a little. Let the heart shine forward. Press yourself back. Long exhale. Inhale, come forward. Let the weight come forward of the wrist a little, drop the belly. Send the hips back. Breath and movement. Come forward. And send the hips back. And then just rest here for a moment. You can have the toes tucked or untucked. Place the forehead down. Take a couple of breaths. And then slowly come back up to all fours. I'm going to move the blanket. We're going to change position. We're going to be facing the long edge of our mat. Our hands back on the floor. So we are still on our knees. If you want to reposition your blanket, that's fine. And then we're going to send our left leg out to the side this way and our right hand this way. So we're in this line like this, on this right knee, which may be on our blanket. Okay, if this is challenging and you want to use a block here, then that's a good place for it. By all means, do that. And then again, lightly engage that core, lift the left arm high. So we're feeling for these lines of energy again, this time all the way from the outside edge of that left foot, all the way up. The waist, the hips, lift the left hand high. Take a couple of breaths here. Okay, we're going to press off this right hand, so now make a little bit more engagement in that core. Lift off the right hand, place the left hand on the left leg and lean over to the right with this right arm. And then rainbow all the way back to our starting position. And then come back to that kneeling. We'll go the other way. So right leg comes out, left hand lifts the right arm high. You can close your eyes here if you want and feel into your body. Feel for new sensations, pockets of energy or warmth, little areas of buzzing. You're starting to move and generate energy around your body. Take a couple of breaths here. And then engage the core, press up, and lean over to the right. So keeping that right hand just resting lightly on your right knee. Breathe here. And come back to center, back to our kneeling. And then we'll take the blanket away. We'll come to a seat. Going to move this piece of firewood. It's definitely using a bit of heat in that fire. Okay, so we're going to start off with our left leg long and our right foot on the inside of our left thigh. So this is another good place where you might want to wedge your hips underneath a blanket or a pillow to help you with that long spine. Keep the toes of this left foot flexed a little. So if it's a lot, you'll feel a lot of sensation here. If it's not so flexed, you'll feel less sensation. So again, that's up to you to feel. If you're struggling with this leg being straight, you can always roll a blanket and place it under the knee and keep that area nice and soft. And then we'll lift the arms overhead, take that full in-breath, feel that joyful expansion. And then we're going to hinge forward. What we're not doing is rounding our head all the way to our knee. So imagine we're just hinging like this. So we just hinge until we feel what we call in yoga the edge, our range of movement. And then bring the hands down. So the spine is nice and long. So remember, you can have a bend in this knee as much as you need. And then place the hands on the ground or on your leg or maybe your foot if you're reaching there. And just settle in here for a few breaths. And slowly as you went in, coming out is just as important as going in. I'm just going to remove this blanket. Just keep the legs where they are. Place your right hand on the outside of your right hip. I'm going to do something really funky called Stargazer, which is really beautiful. Again, it's going to be onto your knee, so you might want to move your blanket to underneath your right knee this time. We're coming up onto that knee and lifting our hips, pressing our hips forward, opening out through that left arm. So again, yours might not look exactly like this. Just give it a go. Find a bit of playfulness, it's only yoga. And then sit your hips back down, switch sides. So our left foot inside our right thigh. Flex that foot as much as you want, pad wherever you need to pad, draw that lower belly in, lift the arms overhead, take that joyful full breath in. And then as you exhale, hinge, find your edge, let the hands come down. Settle in there for a few breaths. So this is a sort of exploration pose, I always find. Because it's one where we spend a little bit more time. We settle in with our breath and then suddenly we find that other things open up or there's a little bit more space to move into, or I don't know, it's just a really nice place to explore and hang out for a little bit. Some poses are sort of transition poses. They get you in and out of other poses, or they ones that you move through. And then there's ones where you hang out for a little bit. And this is one of them. Okay, very slowly let yourself come back up. Place your left hand this time outside your left hip, pad under your knee if you need. If you're on a hard floor, press into the hand, lift up. Find the feeling of spaciousness and openness and expansion. And then slowly sit your hips back down. This time we're doing both legs out. This is one of my absolute favorite pose names, Paschimottanasana in Sanskrit. I absolutely love that. So again, padding underneath the sitting bones, underneath the knees. If you need, some people actually also have like yoga straps. You can put a strap around your feet and hold that. There's so many options. And again, this is a hinge, so draw in that lower belly a little bit, lift the arms overhead, find your edge when you hinge forward, keeping the spine nice and straight, and then release the hands. And then take a couple of breaths here. I always close my eyes in these longer, more static poses. I find that taking that sense of sight away just immediately brings more depth of feeling and sensation in my body. And as you develop your practice, you'll learn to listen more deeply to your body. You'll hear your body much sooner, giving you feedback and messages about how it's feeling and what it needs. So we learn so much on our yoga mats about our own bodies and what we need, what our souls need. You know, if you can learn to listen to your body say to you, oh, hang on, that's too far, I need to back off a little bit, that's not a good stretch here, or that doesn't feel quite right. Once we're tuning in to listening to our bodies on a physical level like that, it becomes much easier to start to tune into those much more interesting voices that are telling us much deeper things about ourselves. So just a couple more breaths here. Slow and smooth. Another thing it's just worth mentioning is that if you have a very hectic life, let's just say, if you're a very busy person, suddenly doing something very slow like this can feel quite unsettling. It's not always a nice feeling. We assume, because we know we need to relax, that it's going to be easy, but actually it quite often isn't. So if you feel quite restless or irritable because you're slowing down, I think that's a traveling through kind of situation, you know, that's not one we can avoid. We have to go through that feeling of discomfort in the slowness and just know that on the other side is a beautiful new relationship with stillness and quiet. And that's where we learn so much about ourselves. Okay, very gently coming back out of that. Bring the soles of the feet together. Again, padding under the hips if you need, or under the sides of the feet if the floor is hard. And again, here, this is for you. So you can have the feet a long way away or really close up to the body. It doesn't matter at all. Your knees may be much higher here. They may open naturally. Again, that's so much of that is to do with our skeletons, and you know, it's not all about the flexibility of yoga. Sometimes we are just hampered by our own skeleton. So we just work with what we have and where we are. You can hold onto your shins, you can hold onto your feet, you can give your insteps a little massage. That can feel really nice. But again, just close the eyes and just feel. If you want to maybe fold forward a little over your feet, then by all means do that. And for these last few moments here, see if you can allow your awareness to land 100% on your breath. Really exploring the sensation of every inhale and every exhale. Maybe in a way that you have never really explored your breath before. And very gently come up to a seat. Find that cross-legged shape. We're going to end with a little twist. So once again, we're going to sweep the arms overhead. This time we're going to twist our left hand to our right knee, our right hand behind. When I teach live in-person classes, this causes so many problems every time with the left and right. It's really funny. So left hand to right knee, right hand behind, nice and close. So we want our hand at the back, nice and close up to our sacrum here if we can. And then lift, so we're getting that lovely long spine. Imagine somebody's drawing you gently from the crown of your head. Okay, so we lift first and then we twist. And when we twist, we're twisting from the belly. So lift first, then twist. Maybe a tiny little movement. You definitely don't need to be swiveling your head right round over your shoulder. Well, you can do, but you don't need to. That's not what this twist is about. Slowly release that, sweep the arms overhead, twist the other way, right hand to our left knee, left hand behind, press into the earth, find length, and then twist. And slowly come back to center. Lift the arms one last time, maybe with the eyes closed, let the hands meet in space. Draw them down through that midline, palms pressing together to your heart. Bow your head in one more time. Lift your gaze. We're going to come down to lying on our mats. Let the feet, the legs go long. So this is Shavasana, our relaxation pose, how we end our classes. So you stay lying down. I'm going to sit up so I can just talk to you quickly. We're not going to be here for very long. It's very tempting to miss Savasana. I do it all the time, just saying. I'm not preaching something about that I don't do. I mean, I do. I do very, very frequently practice yoga, and I don't end in Shavasana. There are so many benefits though of doing so. So it gives you that bit of extra time on your mat for sure. You know, if you've carved out a little bit of time for yourself, it gives you that little bit more. But it's much more important than that. There's something really beautiful about giving your body, imagining it's like a sponge and it's in Shavasana, when the sponge soaks in all the goodness that you have just generated from your practice, no matter how short or simple or fluid or energetic or challenging your yoga is. When you lie in Shavasana at the end, your breathing just regulates. It just does this really sweet, natural rhythm, and your body soaks up all the goodness, all the energy that you've created. So it's really important, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy. You just get yourself cozy. It's another reason why a blanket is good, because you can cover yourself in your blanket for Shavasana. You can get really cozy, and you can just lie there for a few minutes with nothing to do. But allow the yoga, allow your body to marinate in it. So in future classes, I will be guiding you through really, really nice guided Shavasanas. For today, I'm just going to ask you to just lie for a few minutes and just check in with yourself. See how your body feels. I mean, that was potentially your first ever yoga practice. We kept it slow and we kept it simple, but I can't stress enough that it's the simplicity of the basics and the foundations that when we get those really well established in our practice, that's what allows us to build and build and build. I see a lot of beginners yoga classes, and actually they're not. They like contain some really quite challenging things that I feel we need to build towards. And there's no time wasted when we spend time working on the basics. So just letting your breath be its sweet, natural, rhythmic self. A breath that has sustained you through that practice, that has helped you Slowing the breath like that does so many yummy things for us. And our nervous system helps regulate us, helps keep us calm, those long, slow exhales. And if you wish to stay lying in Shavasana, then by all means do so. Otherwise, you can start to gently wriggle your fingers and toes. Maybe draw the knees into the chest, give yourself a hug before you roll onto your side and up to a seat. Thank you so much for joining me for that beginner's yoga class. I feel honoured to be able to help you start your yoga journey. I'm so excited for you, and I'm really looking forward to sharing more yoga with you. I hope you have a beautiful day wherever you are. From my home to yours and from my heart to yours, I send love and I wish you well, and hopefully I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.